The Internet of Things, augmented reality, and virtual reality are changing how we live, how we work, and how we jump off of stuff. For Tech Republic and ZDNet, my name is Dan Patterson, and today we're speaking with Jeb Corliss. Jeb is a wingsuit pilot as well as an athlete and sometimes motivational speaker. Jeb, thanks a lot for your time today. I wonder if you could first tell me a little bit about the technology you use every day to stay alive.
Well, actually, the funny thing is the sports I do are a lot of technology involved. Actually, without technology, a lot of sports I do would be physically impossible. I mean, everything from airplanes to advancements in nylon technology that allowed to create the parachute systems and the wingsuit systems and the different types of, the different types of equipment as far as altimeters and computers to make sure our parachutes can open properly. All of this stuff is, it's a very technology-based sport. I mean, even my scuba diving with sharks is technology based. We use scuba equipment that allows us to breathe underwater. And I think that's one of the things that make human beings quite interesting is our capability of evolving via not just, morphing our bodies over hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years, but we actually have an accelerated rate of evolution because we can do it in just a few short decades through creating technologies that allow us to breathe underwater and technologies that allow us to fly like birds and technologies that allow us to, jump off a 4,000-foot cliff and then land on the ground without dying. So I think these kinds of things are quite interesting. And I've noticed that a lot of the sports that I'm involved in are technology-based. And going on to the next level of technology, not just the equipment I need to survive doing the kinds of things that we do, but beyond the technology for survival, we also have technologies that we use to train to actually do something a little more special while just trying to survive, which like you discussed, which was the augmented reality, virtual reality, and, using things like iWatches in order to have, the ability to see altitudes and forward speeds and GPS data to be able to actually decide, is that a jump that's even possible in the first place?
Yeah, so to that end, it's easy on the other side to watch and observe and see some pretty spectacular things. But while you're in the air or while you're underwater, your brain needs to process a lot of different information. How do you decide, or how does your brain decide what information is necessary when you're in the midst of performing an act? And what technology do you use to feed you information that literally is life and death?
It depends on the project. A lot of what I do is project-based, right? So I'll come up with a concept of something I want to do. We'll take flying wingsuits. I did a project last year where I was going to hit a target the size of an apple suspended over the Great Wall of China after jumping out of a helicopter over 1 mile away. So that was a complicated concept, a hard idea. It was going to be a live production. So we needed to come up with multiple technological solutions for how to do everything from one, the actual stunt itself, like how am I going to jump out of this helicopter? How am I going to find that target that's so far away? Then how am I going to strike that target by putting a GoPro-sized object through an Apple-sized bullseye, right? Then opening and then landing. That was one aspect of what we needed to do. But then the other thing is this was a live show. So how are we going to actually film this thing live and then beam it out to the world so that hundreds of millions of people could witness it as it was happening, which turned out to be the largest technical hurdle we had to get over because we're in a mountainous region. The distances that we have to be are literally miles, many square miles over terrain that has 1,000-foot cliffs. So how are you supposed to beam signals between me, the helicopter, the ground? And we were very fortunate because GoPro had a solution for us. They were building a GoPro live camera so they had basically a regular GoPro that you could stick a back on, and that back was able to then beam a live signal in 1080p HD, like a perfect, beautiful signal to the ground, which then could be put into satellite trucks and beamed to the world, which was a technological hurdle on a level that, I'd never seen anything like it. Because the size of everything was so tiny that I was able to literally just put it on the top of my helmet and go. And it was so simple. You just put it in, push one button, and now you're beaming your entire jump everywhere, which to me I thought was spectacular. It was really amazing. And they had to lay, I forget how many thousands and thousands of feet of cabling across the ground. And they said something really funny. They're all, this is the most wire-intensive wireless technology on Earth. Because a lot of it had to do with laying fiber optic cable to the top of the mountains so that they could have people with these special dishes pointed at me so that basically as I'm doing it, they constantly don't lose sight of me around all of these areas. Yet, it allowed me to not have to wear a bunch of heavy stuff. I could just have a simple GoPro with a simple back, and I could go. And I was able to wear 3 of them. So that was a technological hurdle that was absolutely phenomenal, and nothing like it had ever been done before in the history of broadcasting because it was so complicated. So that was a really interesting part. So now we're talking about just the almost behind the scenes, backstage, how you actually show people what you're doing. But then with this, you have the technology of what you're actually doing, right? So now we're going back to using helicopters, which I think is one of the most amazing machines ever built by human beings. I mean, we've been talking about flying cars forever. Well, we have them. They're called helicopters. We've had helicopters. That's a flying car. That's what it is. It's just, people don't really think of them as flying cars, but that's what they are. It's an absolute incredible machine that allows you to take off from anywhere, land anywhere, fly anywhere. I mean, and the stunt would have been literally physically impossible without it. Then, we'll talk a little more about the training because that's where we use augmented reality. So I had a bunch of friends who are working on the very cutting edge of augmented reality where they're able to 3-dimensionally render real life objects. So we went on Google Earth, we took a bunch of photographs, did a bunch of GPS mapping, and sent them that data. They were able to then build a 3-dimensional model, real size, real shape, real everything, in a 3D world, right? Then they were able to put that into a little computer system that would then project it onto a piece of glass on my eye so that when I would jump out of an airplane, I'd jump out of the airplane, it would have a countdown, 3, 2, 1. And as I'm flying my wingsuit in just open, 12,000 foot off the ground air where I don't have to worry about hitting anything and it's super safe, it would then build this whole mountain range, build the wall, build the target out in front of me so I could come in and safely practice hitting the target, deploying a parachute, and then all of a sudden as I would hit the target and come through, it would disappear and then rebuild again. So in one skydive, I could do 3 runs at my target. So it was a perfect way for training before I actually got to China to do the project in a real dangerous environment with real rocks, real cliffs, and real everything that can kill you. So that's how we've been using modern day technologies in order to help us achieve complicated goals. Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I think is important. It's not doing extreme things, it's not doing dangerous things. I mean, it's about achieving goals in your life. I think it's really important for human beings to have passions, have dreams, have things they want to do, right? That's the point of living in the first place. You come up with a goal, you achieve that goal, and through achieving that goal, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn about who you are, what you're capable of, how far you can push. And while you're learning about yourself, you're also learning about what the rest of humanity can do. So for me, I think that's been a big push in what I do. Like, I'm not out there for adrenaline rushes. I'm not out there to see how dangerous I can make things. What I do is I come up with a goal, I come up with a task, and then I try to find the safest way I can possibly make that goal happen. And that's really like when men went to the moon, they weren't, hey, let's see how dangerous we can make this. No, their concept was how safe can we make this? And even though it's a dangerous task, it's a dangerous goal, it's a worthy goal, and they go for it and they try to do it in the safest way they can.